everyone, this is Chakawat here, and today I'm going to be presenting to you my top 10 legendary swords of the Elder Scrolls. This list was suggested to me by JJ Skinner, so thanks for watching my videos, dude. Up at number 10, I have chosen Chrysamere. Also known as the Paladins Blade or the Sword of Heroes, this legendary and ancient claymore grants its wielder stronger health as well as boosts to fire and magic resistance. It is passed through the hands of the Eternal Champion, the Agent, and the Nerevarine at some point during their stories. 9. The Sword of Jyggalag. The Daedric artifact of Jyggalag has been thought to have symbolic resemblance to the Staff of Sheogorath. It is a large, shimmering, crystalline claymore that was originally wielded by Prince Jyggalag himself. Though heavy, it is a powerful and resilient sword that can do damage to any creature, but otherwise possesses no unique enchantments. It was left behind by Jyggalag after the Grey March of the Third Era, where he was defeated by the hero of Kvatch working on Sheogorath's behalf. 8. Ice Blade of the Monarch. This powerful and resilient blade was said to have been forged by the evil archmage Almian Selmo to assassinate a king in a far-off land. He blessed the blade with the soul of an ice monarch, the stronger form of a frost atronach. He gave it to the warrior Thurgnar Asi, who was supposed to be the assassin. The assassination attempt ultimately failed, and the Archmage was thrown in prison. Widely regarded as one of Tamriel's most prized possessions, the blade has transferred from owner to owner. It is said that those who are struck with the blade are turned to ice. 7. Goldbrand. Said to be forged by the dragons of the north to be given to a knight that agreed to protect them, this golden sword holds within it the power of the Daedric Prince Boethia. The Nerevarine was granted Goldbrand by the Daedric Prince after they helped restore his sunken shrine in Morrowind, and was later granted to the hero of Kvatch after they grasped victory in the Tournament of 10 Bloods. When it strikes an opponent, it sets them ablaze, and is also quite a resilient and powerful sword all on its own. There is known to be a more powerful version of this blade known as Eltenbrand as well. 6. The Sword of the Crusader. Created by the divine Arche, this is a powerful and resilient sword once wielded by Palinal Whitestrake. It can only be wielded by one with a pure heart, and grants the Crusader's arm, fortifying the wielder's skill with the blade. The hero of Kvatch was able to obtain the sword after defeating the wraith of Lord Beric Lindrol in Underpall Cave. They then purified the sword in the Chapel of Arche in Shadenhall to remove it of its curse and restore its divine power. 5. The Soul Sword. After Prince Ator of Stros Makai was assassinated by Dram during the Battle of Hunting Bay, he was buried along with his sword. During the Crusades of Cyrus the Restless, he, along with the Restless League, his sister, and a Yokudan witch named Sabin, tried to reanimate the dead prince. Though at first they thought they'd failed, Ator had actually elected to imbue the sword with his soul. Cyrus took up the sword from the prince's grave and used it as a way to give courage to the rest of the Restless League, then went off to fight Emil Richten. Ator guided Cyrus through the palace and eventually saved his life atop the blimp. The sword then fell into the hands of Azara, and through it she was granted Ator's counsel and successfully ruled Stros Makai. 4. Dawnfang and Duskfang. This unique Akaviri sword transforms depending on the time. During the day, it is Dawnfang, a smoldering blade that lights its enemies ablaze. During the night, it is the cold killer Duskfang that freezes anything it strikes. The hero of Kvatch discovered it while repairing Zedilian on one of the adventurers, Gramak Grobarak. When in combat, the blade nourishes itself with each kill, increasing its power if one has killed 12 enemies into a superior version. It also does a fair amount of damage and is quite resilient, and it served the hero of Kvatch very well through their endeavors. 3. Dawnbreaker. This beaming artifact was granted to the Dragonborn by the Daedric Prince Meridia after they returned light to her temple and defeated the necromancer Malkaron. Its golden blade and shining hilt reflects the light it was forged by. When striking, it sets targets ablaze and can also cause undead to explode. During the night, the crossguard shines through the darkness, and it served the Dragonborn very well as they wielded it in Meridia's name. 2. The Ebony Blade. Also known as the Vampire or the Leech, this ebony katana is the artifact of the Daedric Prince Mephala. It has passed through the hands of many, including the Vestige, the Eternal Champion, the Agent, the Hero of Kavach, and the Dragonborn. It has corrupted the hearts and perverted the desires of many men and women, the first and most notable case being that of an Altmer scholar named Niraneth. He uncovered the blade in the early Second Era and, believing it to be of Akaviri origin, brought it to the Ege Rel to study. However, soon the blade broke Niraneth's mind, and he slaughtered and ensnared the souls of his students and fellow scholars. He summoned Daedra to torture their souls for eternity, and finally shattered his own wife, Elenway's soul, so that her suffering would be the greatest. Finally, a group called the Undaunted freed the undead and cleared out the Daedra, as well as freeing Elenway, who elected to stay behind and guard the rest of the world from Niraneth. Spoilers for the books The Infernal City and Lord of Souls ahead. And for number 1, I have chosen Umbra. Created by the witch Nainra War at the request of the Daedric Prince Clavicus Vile, the sword's sole purpose is the entrapment of souls. However, when Nainra imbued the sword with Vile's power, she created a sentient life force that called itself Umbra. The sword would hide itself until a worthy wielder came along. Slowly, Umbra would take control of the wielder. Umbra also had the ability to change its own shape, therefore it could never be recognizable in hiding. The Nerevarine bested an orc named Umbra in the mountains of Suron, and were able to wield the sword for a short while. It was later discovered by a Bosmer once named Lenwyn, but slowly the bait took over and she took on the name Umbra. The hero of Kavach was sent to kill her and retrieve the blade by Clavicus Vile, accompanied by Barbas. Once in Vile's realm, Umbra stole more of Vile's power and took the form of a dark being. He threw the sword into Mundus and took captive 2 Dunmer, Esmarsol and Vuhan, who had been sucked into oblivion. Umbra and Vuhan created the floating city Umbriel together, then fused into one being. On Mundus, Sol and Prince Atropus Mead searched for the Umbra sword. However, without its life force stabilizing it, whoever touched the blade immediately went insane. The sword was finally destroyed completely by Sol after being stabbed with it by a possessed Atropus and jumping onto the orb of the Ingenium, disintegrating himself and the blade. I hope you've enjoyed my list and found it helpful. Sorry if my voice sounds a little wonky, I've caught a dreadful cold. Remember to like and subscribe. Bye!
Do you believe in kissing honey? You bet I do. Well, I believe in kissing honey when the moon is new.